Good evening. You're watching Just the News. I'm Amita Balachandra. We start off with Sri Lanka's economic crisis. After fleeing the country amid massive protests, Sri Lanka's president has quit his post today. He had fled to the Maldives from Sri Lanka yesterday and is said to have landed in Singapore today. In fact, the Singapore government said that Sri Lankan president has not been granted asylum but is on a private visit instead. Singapore's foreign ministry was quoted as saying by news agency AFP, and I quote, it is confirmed that Mr. Rajapaksa has been allowed entry into Singapore on a private visit. He has not asked for asylum and neither has he been granted any asylum. Singapore generally does not grant requests for asylum, end quote. Now, Parliament is expected to name a new full-time president next week. In the meantime, protesters have now started withdrawing from official buildings that they had occupied over the weekend. The last couple of days ago, we saw protesters storm into the president's official residence and Prime Minister's residence as well. In the meantime, one person died and at least 45 others were injured after massive protests in Colombo yesterday. Sri Lankan authorities today lifted the curfew which was imposed in the western province. After the eruption of violence in the capital, the country is battling its worst ever economic crisis since independence. Meanwhile, in India, Alt News co-founder and fact-checker Mohammed Zubair has approached the Supreme Court seeking to quash all 6 FIRs registered against him in Uttar Pradesh. Now, the Uttar Pradesh police had formed a special investigation team to look into 6 cases. 1 case each has been filed in the districts of Sitapur, Lakhimpur Kheri, Muzaffarnagar and Ghaziabad, and 2 in Hathras. Now, the cases are related to Zubair's satirical comments on anchors of television channels, allegedly hurting religious sentiments of the Hindu community and posting allegedly inflammatory content about deities as well. Now, after backlash over words deemed unfit for the parliament, Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla on Thursday has said that no word has been banned in either house and the list was merely a compilation, of expressions that had been scrubbed off records in the past. Now, according to a booklet by Lok Sabha Secretariat, it has released a list of words that will be considered unparliamentary. Now, these are a couple of words among a whole list of words. Jumla Jeevi, Bal Buddhi, COVID spreader and Snoopgate have joined daily expressions like ashamed, abused, betrayed, drama, hypocrisy and incompetent. And there are a list of other words as well in that list. Now, the list, however, said that some of the words may not appear unparliamentary unless read in conjunction with other expressions. An update on COVID cases in the country right now. India has reported 20,139 new COVID cases and 38 deaths in the last 24 hours. This is the first time since February, however, that the daily COVID cases in the country has crossed that 20,000 mark. Now, the daily positivity rate has now risen to 5.10%. Kerala, Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu continue to report the maximum number of cases. Also in the news, singer Daler Mehndi has been sentenced to 2-year jail term by a Patiala court in a human trafficking case that dates back to 2003. Now, originally sentenced in 2018, he was on bail so far. The case dates back to 2003 and a total of 31 cases have been filed against Daler Mehndi and his brother Shamsher Singh in the complaints that go back 2 decades ago. Daler Mehndi and his brother were accused of collecting passage money to take people abroad, mainly to the US and Canada, via the troop route. While they did take some people, there were others who said that they gave money but the singers did not keep their promise. Also in the news, Pune District Collector has imposed Section 144 at all tourist spots in Pune due to heavy rain forecast till the 17th of July. According to the order, gathering of 5 or more people has been restricted within 1 kilometer radius of forts, waterfalls and tourist places. It's also prohibited to take pictures while swimming in water or near waterfalls. Meanwhile, the death toll in Maharashtra and Gujarat has now gone up to 19 because of heavy rainfall. A red alert has been issued for 12 Maharashtra districts. More than 31,000 people were evacuated from their homes in Gujarat. According to SDRF officials, 3 national highways in Kutch, Navsari and Dung districts were blocked because of the damage caused by rains. Meanwhile, in Tamil Nadu, Tamil Nadu's opposition, AIADMK, led by E. Palaniswamy, has sacked the 2 sons of political rival O. Paneerselvam and 16 other leaders. Now, this comes after Paneerselvam was sacked amid the tussle for the control of the party. He was expelled for anti-party activities. On Monday, Mr. Palaniswamy was on the way to becoming the party's single supreme leader after the Madras High Court gave a go-ahead for the crucial General Council meet of the party. The High Court's verdict, in fact, paved the way to end the dual leadership model in the AIADMK after EPS was elevated as the interim General Secretary of the party. On to business news right now. India's wholesale inflation rate has declined marginally to 15.18% in June, when compared to 15.88% in May. In June last year, the wholesale inflation rate was 12.07%. Now, the wholesale price index reflects changes in the average prices of goods collected at the wholesale level, which is commodities sold in bulk and traded between businesses or entities, rather than goods bought by consumers. Now, the Union Ministry of Commerce and Industry has said in a statement, and I quote, "The high rate of inflation in June 2022 is primarily due to a rise in prices of mineral oils, food articles, crude petroleum and natural gas, basic metals, chemicals and chemical products, among others." Meanwhile, in Maharashtra, keeping up to his promise, Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde has announced that the price of petrol and diesel in the state will be reduced by 5 rupees per litre and 3 rupees per litre respectively. From tomorrow, petrol will cost around 106 rupees a litre and diesel will cost around 94 rupees a litre in Mumbai. Chief Minister Shinde said that the Maharashtra government will bear about 6,000 crore rupees a year, and that's what it's going to cost its exchequer. In the meantime, the Enforcement Directorate has arrested former CEO and MD of NSE, Chitra Ramakrishna, in a money laundering case and got a 4-day remand. Now, the ED had filed the case under the criminal sections of the PMLA, which is Prevention of Money Laundering Act, against Ramakrishna, ex-Mumbai Police Commissioner Sanjay Pandey and Ravi Narain. Now, earlier, Chitra Ramakrishna was arrested by the CBI in connection with the NSE co-location case in Delhi. On to news coming in from across the globe right now. It's day 141 of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Russian missiles struck the city of Vinstia in Ukraine today, killing 12 people and injuring 25 others. Ukraine's President Zelensky has called it an open act of terrorism on the country's civilian population in areas with no military value. On to sports news. India have announced their squad for the T20I series against West Indies. Virat Kohli and Jasprit Bumrah have not been included in the squad. However, KL Rahul and Kuldeep Yadav have been included subject to fitness. Now, the squad also includes Ravichandran Ashwin, Ravi Bishnoi, Harshal Patel, Arshdeep Singh and Avesh Khan. Now, Rohit Sharma has been named as the captain, and the 3-match ODI series and a 5-match T20I series will begin from July 22nd to August 7th. One piece of good news before we wrap things up here on this bulletin. Mary McLeod Bethune has become the first Black American to be represented with a state statue in the National Statuary Hall, which is the central room of the United States Capitol. Now, Bethune was a civil rights activist, a presidential advisor, and the founder of the Daytona Literary and Industrial Training School for Negro Girls, which became Bethune-Cookman University in Daytona Beach. Her statue represents the state of Florida. That brings us to the end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.